So John wanted to save the old bumper sticker. I don't know, I could always tear it off later. So welcome back. This is the next phase of this. The exhaust was done last week. I've been plugging along on some things. This week we're going to get the carpet in. And obviously I'm going to try to take it for a drive this week. Last week I know we didn't, and that's okay. It's an ongoing thing. I'm thinking about painting the roof white, as we'd mentioned. I'm going to go ahead and probably do that. It'll just give it some color, tie it all together. Neat thing about these Suburbans is when this this thing's on a hinge, so when the tailgate's down, you can see your license plate. I guess that was important back in the day for people to have those showing. Anyways, we'll see what gets going on this week. Thanks for coming back. Other than that rust falling on the paint. I like it. I think it's going to look good once the body's shined up. Use some clear coat. I think it's going to look alright. It is what it is. So while we're waiting for the paint to dry on the grill, this is the original engine that came with the Suburban. It's a 292 Chevy 6-cylinder. I put a 283 in it. Yes, this is a bigger engine, but come on in close, Mary, and I'll show you why I'm not using it. Ta-da! It sat too long. Here in Washington, at least on the West Coast side, what we found with vehicles that set, and you can look right here, this is the exhaust system. Obviously it had a pipe but what happens is the moisture from the ground, just condensation moisture, will come up through the exhaust system, and wherever the engine's at in its rotation, it'll leave one of the exhaust valve open. And I'm going to venture to guess that it was this number 3 cylinder that was the one that was open. Anyways, what happens is the moisture gets in, and you'll find water and stuff in these. You'll say, well, there's an air cleaner, the hood was on. How did that happen? That's how. And I was told some time ago, if you're going to store an engine, especially over here, that you just keep filling it with used motor oil. You take the spark plugs out, you fill that, you fill it, you just completely fill the engine, submerge everything you can submerge with oil. It should stay in there, and it displaces any water or vapor that could get in. I mean, pour it down the carburetor, everything. Just completely fill that engine with used oil. And then when you want the engine, you pull the pan plug, you drain it, you pull the spark plugs, you rotate it, and it shouldn't have any trouble. I've never done that. Most of my stuff stays in my shop, but I have had engines that have seized up from just setting, and you think, well, there was no water in. But yes, water will come in. My 48 Ford was like that. It came up through the tailpipe. We had it running in 93 or 4. Anyways, this engine, I'm still going to scavenge some parts off of it. And for one, I'm going to use the oil pan as the other patch panel. In the last video you saw, I used the valve cover with the Chevrolet script. I think it's comical. I'm going to cut off the oil pan with a drain plug, and I'm going to put it on the other side, so there'll be a drain plug there kind of in it, and I'm going to leave that side the factory blue color. Anyways, first thing we're going to do is I'm going to enlarge a chain. If you guys have been following the Friday video series at all, it's a shorty on tools in the shop. If you want to watch, I'm going to attempt to use my air hammer, which I didn't show even though it was on the table for air hammering, to make that big enough to use a head bolt. I'm going to get some vice grips. I have a bad feeling. Let's talk about bad feelings for a minute. If your little voice is telling you, it gives you 1 or 2 chances. You better grab it on the first or second chance, because by the third, you're a hurting unit. I think everybody has that. Pay attention to it. All right, we're going to have to tap it back in. Tap it in.
You're hammering an air hammer right now.
Yeah, I know. I figured it'd get stuck. Let me get my other hammer.
To hammer it off the hammer?
Yeah, I use my ball peen hammer.
Are you supposed to hit them together?
Oh, yeah. It wants to go. Just got to find the right combination. All right, now let's see if it's big enough. Oh, almost. Almost. Let's see if we can do more damage. I'll just wrap some tape around it. Make the chisel fatter. Nah, we'll try it. I might have to heat it up. That's that. Back to here. All right. I don't think I did anything. I got a pry bar over here. If I could secure that somehow, maybe I could pry it wider.
Yeah, don't have the stand clamper anymore. Well, a stand for the clamper.
My vise, yeah, I gotta work on that. I had one time put the vise on a wheel so I could move it around the shop. Then I decided I needed the wheel back, so I took the wheel back. I don't think I'm doing anything. All right, stand by. Plan B. Oh, look at that tangle. Nice.
We just unknotted one.
Yeah. How the heck? Look at that. It's like a snake eating a rabbit. What the hell is going on?
It was all tangled yesterday, day before, with the extension cord and the welding wires too.
On this week's episode, how to untangle a hose.
Hoses, or a dose of them.
All right. Get out of the way.
I'm getting.
Gosh darn. Looks like it's hot enough to bend. This is where I'm losing all my time now.
Mm-hmm. It lies to you. Something's happening.
What it is ain't exactly clear.
That cold metal
taper. Shoot, I'm gonna need a washer now. It didn't get me, but it wanted to.
Like a snake.
It's like giving a cat a pill. Yeah. The vice grips are hot.
I was going to ask if you wanted your gloves when you got out the big dog, but no.
No, I'm too smart for that. Oh, shoot. The last couple of videos, we've been trying to keep it real. You know, people need to be serious on the internet.
That's not us.
So, I don't know, maybe we'll cut loose and show you this crap that we go through sometimes. Okay, watch out. I'm going to start this. Hate to see you burn up.
It's already in the 80s today. I don't need it any hotter.
You could have got your buddy Austin to forge this one.
Nah, he's just as busy as you are.
What? He's a kid. He's not busy.
He works full time.
Where's my hammer?
I don't know.
Standing on it. Stop while you're ahead. Okay. All right, you can lay there and think about it.
Think about your choices.
Anyways, what I was saying about this engine. It was supposedly a running vehicle when we got it. The guy says it ran when it drove in there. I believe him. But don't go buying one that you ain't seen run. When they say, oh, it's been there since 1997. It should run. Start right up, drive out. That is a lie. You'll never, ever find one that just starts right up and runs out.
Especially not when it's been sitting in 2 feet of mud for 30 years.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, look, even the damn head bolt
26.
doesn't want to even go back in. Anyways, I'm jacking this up to get rid of it. Throw it in the dumpster. Get rid of it. We've got a spot not far from here where there's a scrapyard. And this isn't worth any money. I mean, at $3, okay? It'll take more in gas to go drop it off. However,
it's out of your yard.
There's an outside dumpster there where you can throw free metal in. And so that's where it's going to go. So I'm expecting to find water in it. Yes, I left it outside for a couple of months without a head, but they say you're always supposed to use the right socket for these. Don't care. If it was mine and I was keeping it, I would, but since it's literally going to the dump, I don't think anybody will notice. If you thread these out and you hold it like that, yeah, there's the water. You see? That could be rainwater. Oh yeah, there you go. It's still everywhere, you jerk.
You know it's going to until it drains down.
But John put a bunch of vinegar in it. He thought, he's so cute. He thought, put vinegar in it, that'll make it work. He poured a bunch of vinegar in it. And as you can see, it did nothing. Does it work? Hey, it might. Does it work on an engine this bad? No. No, it doesn't. Oil's not too bad other than the contamination on it. Anyways, it's always good if you're going to take these to a scrap facility. They almost always require the pans off, the heads off, the oil filters are off. Transmission, same way. They want them all apart because they don't want to have contamination in their yard. And I know oil comes out of the ground and we refine it and we use it and we put it in the air and it goes back to the ground. But some people believe that that's still bad. So recycle the oil. It's no problem. I also understand that some people are using motor oil and they mix it with diesel and they're using it in some of their trucks. Try to save money. That's cool. I know the biofuel works real well, but I don't know about used motor oil. If you're going to screw around with any of that, just make sure you get a good filtration system. I currently don't do any alternate fuels like that. In the past, I've screwed with some vegetable oil stuff and it worked all right.
For a car you don't love.
Well, it's just the injector pumps are very sensitive. And if there's computers, so you really want old diesels if you're going to do any sort of alternative fuel, because then it doesn't have any sensors in it. It just runs. It doesn't know that there's any sort of fuels. It thinks that the fuels are. It thinks the fuels are water sometimes when they're too thin. Yeah.
And it goes intruder alert.
We'll put the plug in it because I'm going to pull the pan anyways. I'm doing all this extra effort just so I could have that thing on the side of the truck over there, so it'll look cool.
I mean, you had to drain it anyways.
Yeah, it's not extra, but
we got to clean your section of pan that you choose. Yeah. The rest of it, we don't care to clean.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
Nothing a little brake cleaner or gasoline.
Let me go get another tool. Let me talk about this filter wrench. This is a cheapie from Harbor Freight. I bought it years ago, and you can see I cut the handle off and rewelded it. Because what was happening, the Chinese are brilliant. They'll make it so that it hits, the handles were hitting, and on the little small filters that you get for like Toyotas and little Hondas, the handles were hitting. So you can see I've turned this one around. I cut it off, I flipped it over, and now it'll go past. Boy, it's a pincher now, boy. It pinches. Before it wouldn't even close, and you're like, well, what is the point of buying this tool if it doesn't even... Ooh, CarQuest. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, you bite onto that sucker and don't worry about hurting the oil filter.
Because when you take it off, you're throwing it away.
Now, do you think there's going to be oil coming out of that after 30 years of not turning? In theory, the oil would have ran to the pan.
Oh, absolutely.
But if I don't put the catch there, you know what's going to happen.
Or at least rust or water. Yep.
So
oil.
Typically, Mary just made a point there, typically water, like if you don't turn the engine over.
You know, it's fun. You have a little spot to leave it in for it to drain. Yeah. That's what that corner's for.
No kidding. What I was saying about water is if there is water in an engine and you can turn it by hand, don't crank it. Because that water is going to be down on the bottom. Oil floats on water, so you can drain it. And you've seen some videos where the guys will open it and get the water out. And they'll put it in. And then they'll run it. But in this case, looking at this, you see all the rust that's in here. These lifters wouldn't have moved or anything. Even if I could get it to turn, it would never build compression with that much rust in it. And so far, the engine still doesn't turn. Even without the head, we couldn't get it to turn. So, can it be saved? Sure. Pull the pistons, pull the crank, hone it out, take your rings off, clean it all, wire brush, clean, file, sand, whatever. Get rid of all the corrosion in that. And if it's not too pitted, it might run. If it is pitted, well, then it will run with weak cylinders or smoke. But it would run again. But I just didn't want to put the effort in because I had a perfectly good running V8. Duh. Why would I do that? Use a 6 when I could have a V8. You guys remember those commercials? Could have had a V8? Yeah. It's the same with hot rod. Okay.
Different type of V8.
No.
You think the panel would fall right off instead of being gummed on there?
There's no way it will fall off. I was doing construction years ago with this guy, and we were taking out a load-bearing wall, and the house was old, and we were rebuilding that said wall. And I said, well, it's load-bearing, it'll fall down. He says, they never fall. And you know what? He was right. We put up a couple of boards, and we took it out and did what we needed and put it back. See, they never fall. They're just so used to being there, they just don't fall. I thought it was risky, but hey, it was cool. It worked out. Well, when you're young, you can get away with stuff.
How many bolts do you need for an oil pan?
Oh, I don't know.
How many are there?
There's got to be that many. Okay, so now, if I did it right, I'm done. I'm going to go get me a whaler. And, hey, a chance to use a hammer and a screwdriver the wrong way. Oh, slick. I got all that right here. Okay, so it's going to start going, and then it's going to want to fall because I have no bolts in it. So I can hope to to avoid a mess.
Yeah, drop it on our nice working shoes.
Falls on my feet.
When stuff.
I hate it when things fall on my feet.
Yeah. Items.
Yeah, for you guys who are subscribed and are coming along on the journey, super awesome. You know, I started this with the expectation of doing maybe a few videos and then saying, well, that was a waste of time. And I haven't given up yet.
Thinking about it.
No, I'm not thinking about it at all. It's a hard thing to get started, and I could see why people. That should hold it. Should go a ways, and then sometimes they come and go, and it's hard for a small channel to get started. Persistence. And anyways, I wanted to say thanks for the guys who are watching this, the people who are investing their time. I must have missed one. Because to do a video will represent pretty much all of our weekends are being used in our evenings to make the videos, and you guys are only seeing 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 80, 15 minutes, whatever. And oh shoot, come on. And the comments are pretty good. Sometimes you get a comment and you're like, really? Well, all right. Things I don't know, you know, I'm learning too. It takes time for somebody to put a comment in there, and I appreciate it. Marianne is typically she'll
scribe.
Yeah, she'll say, Dad, what do you think of this or that? I said, well, tell them this or that, or let's get going. Like, I didn't know that. But Marianne is also the one who's doing the internet.
All the media and editing.
Well, yeah,
most of the editing.
But you're adding the little quips and things and corrections along the way. I thought it was neat about the Husky.
Soda.
Here's a bolt.
Oh!
The Husky soda and stuff like that, because I was like, I never knew that. I was even saying it in the thing. I don't know where this box come from. It's a weird shaped box. Turned out it was a soda box. I didn't know that. I'm
real keen on history, though, and geography, so.
Oh, it comes right off if you get the bolts out.
That's fun for me.
What, is there another one in the corner?
Oh, yeah, and all the spider webs.
They got two right next to each other. Oh, way to go, Chevrolet. Let's go see the USA and our Chevrolet.
Bonus points to whoever can guess how many there were without counting.
No, you can't guess. 3 or 4 million, probably. Have to change batteries in the tool.
It's like trying to count birthday candles on a picture, you know?
Okay. Well, it didn't fall. So let's...
Weird. It's like it had a strap.
Son of a gun. I was just ready to grab it, too.
Hey, didn't get on my shoes and didn't get on yours because they're behind you. We got lucky on that one.
What a freaking mess.
Do you want me to get out the cat litter?
Yeah, just give it a second. Shine my camera phone up in here, and so you see how that color changes. That's usually the sign of where the water is. So in this case, you could see that the water was very, very shallow in here, and you look down in the pan, and you can usually see where there's kind of like a water line. So, and that being said, now when you look up at the crank on this, it wasn't submerged, it wasn't anything. So in reality, this block would be, you know, basically you just hone it out, bore it out, whatever. You should be able to polish this crank and put it right back into service. I am not doing that. And this is what kind of pains me, is like, well, do I throw it away? Somebody could use this. I mean, it's a 60-year-old engine, and we're not going to have them forever. Then the logical side of me says, Darren, you can't keep everything. These engines aren't that desirable. Go ahead, do it. In your town right now, go and type 292 Chevy, and I would be surprised if you have to pay more than $300 for one of these. Now, the problem is some of you guys may live places where you can't get them, but, you know, sorry about that. I think I could probably Google one and find one within an hour of here for $300 for the last that runs, if I was a betting man. Anyways.
Drain it completely.
Well, you know, when I got an old engine, I always take it apart, put new gaskets in it, and new freeze plugs. It's like $100 for the gasket, $30 for the freeze plugs maybe, and a can of paint. You're into it for $150, but then it's all, you know, you don't have any more oil leaks, you don't have any trouble. I said that, but now on this 283 in the front, I need a speedy sleeve on the front seal. It has a new seal, but I see it just weeping a little bit, so I'll have to do some work on that someday. But you know, that's just because the engine's so many miles on it. Alright, what do we want to do with this now? Alright, let's go over here and see if this is even a good idea. The green even matches close enough. So if that one was to slip under there, so I leave this one here.
Gonna have to bash out a bit of rust.
I might bend that down a little bit so you can see the drain plug. And then we'll cut the corner like that to go up under, and then we'll rivet the same thing. Try to get a patch from behind. I don't want to do an over patch. I want to do an under patch. Yeah, there should be enough room for it to go. See, But the worst thing is somebody put all that undercoating underneath there, but it didn't matter because this double-walled insulation got the water trap between the. Yeah, we can do something like that. Let me straighten the bend out.
No more paint for you.
Well, the problem is I was trying to salvage that. Now I've dented it all up. Which it's an oil pan, and we all know they get dented anyways, but I had this crazy idea, and this is where the comedy is. Ha ha. These did not drain well because Chevy made a poor design. Let me explain what happens. Every C10 you're ever going to see, or the 20s, this will fill with dirt. It'll go down there. There's a drain channel, and it's a very tiny little hole from the factory. And it was originally, yeah, I don't know if you can see that, my finger behind there, Mary. You see that tiny little drain hole?
Yep.
I mean, it was nothing. Anyways, that would get clogged like it is now. Anyways, that would get clogged with dirt, and then this channel you can see right here, this reinforcing rib, will just fill with dirt, mud, gravel, leaves, wherever you're doing. And that's why all these rust out here. So I thought it would be comical to use the engine it had in it and use the drain plug and put on there, and people say, well, why is that? I say, it's a drain plug. And they say, well, why is that? Because it didn't come with a drain plug, which is hence the rust, which is the comedy in itself. It's a comedy that you got to follow all the parts to. You know, it's the who's on first. If you don't catch the first part of the comedy, you don't get the rest of it. Should I just paint this Chevy orange too? Because we've already got.
No.
No?
No.
No?
No.
No?
No.
No?
Nope. It's perfect the way it is.
Just leave it all beat because the green matches?
Yeah. It's all beat. It's in a rust hole. This one looks good beat.
The other one looked good all.
Yeah, but this one doesn't have words, so it's cool to see it beat. And also, it's an oil pan. People are going to say, that's a nice oil pan. And you go, nah. Oil pans are never nice. Hammer, hammer, hammer.
Everything's a hammer. I'm kind of halfway tempted to blast a little weld on the backside, but then it'll burn the paint.
Yeah, it will.
Otherwise, that's it. It's not as good as the other one, but I'll clean it. I'll clean it. Might leave the oil on the back so then it doesn't rust.
Mm-mm.
I need to go in there and get the sharps off of it and stuff, but I don't have to change the shape. I mean, this is too bad. This kind of got beat in, but
It matches the rest of it.
you know, I'll have to use a hammer, tang that down after we rivet it. So I say I might just need to. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Still sharp as hell. I seen on the internet a guy had a C10 like this. Well, it was a truck, but like this, and he used license plates. Now, if you guys remember on my rat rod, I did license plates for the, well, for most of it. But I didn't want to do license plates on this one. I know that sounds dumb, but, you know, so I had this idea of using the engine parts that I wasn't going to use and recycle them. That way it lives on with us. Alright, I think I'm ready to drill a hole here. First you gotta drill through the Bondo, then you can drill into the, I might need your help, Mary.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's on the stand. Cracking joints. Well, that one was the easiest one yet.
That was aluminum, not steel.
Hoo-hoo, sweet cheese.
I think we're gonna have to spot weld that lower one because there's just nothing. There's just nothing to rivet into.
Rivet.
I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. Yeah. I'll get the welding machine back out because then I don't have to ever touch it again. 5 minute delay. Done and done.
Burning off the oil.
Oh yeah, she's an oil burner.